Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So sorry if I sound a bit congested. My immune system is really failing me today, but I'm fighting through it. Today we have an exciting video because we are talking about how to grow the booty. We're talking about how to get that peach look. And I'm going to be sharing some tips that I wish I knew when I first started weightlifting. So my fitness journey, I started three and a half years ago, and my goal was to build my butt. Okay, I wanted to grow it, I wanted to get bigger, and I was in the gym, I was doing my workouts, and I saw no results, no progress, and that's just frustrating. But it wasn't until about a year ago when I really started to implement these tips that I saw amazing, incredible results. So I'm going to post a before and after picture to kind of show you guys where I was at. The first picture, the before picture, is when I was weightlifting, but I wasn't implementing most of these tips, if any. And the after picture is when I was still weightlifting, but implementing all of these tips, and the progress I've seen is insane. I think my butt grew 2.5 inches within 6 to 7 months, and that's what, like, from no progress to that, like 2 years of no progress. That's insane to me. It was definitely amazing. But I definitely want to share these tips with you guys, so if you are starting your fitness journey, or if you're already in the middle of it and you're really frustrated and you don't know what to do, definitely try and implement these tips. All right, so let's go get into these tips. All right, tip number 1. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to honestly answer this. Are you consistently going to the gym? Are you consistently working out? Because if you're not, this is the first thing you're going to want to start doing. Being consistent in your workouts is very important when you want to build a certain muscle group, because we want to make sure that we are constantly tearing those muscle fibers and then building them back up. That way we can see that muscle growth. I think when I first started working out in my junior year, I was only going to the gym maybe like twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. I had soccer, I had school, I had work. It was so much that I wasn't really going as much as I should have been for the goals that I did have. And I wasn't even consistent. Like maybe I went twice one week, maybe I went 3 times another, maybe I went none another week. And when you're trying to build your muscles, you have to work them every week. Otherwise, you cannot see results. And it's fine if you're taking a break, or you're taking a week off, or you're going on vacation. That's fine. Just make sure that you are being consistent all the other weeks. So this is actually leading into tip number 2. You need to make sure that you're getting enough rest. So while we want to be consistent, we don't want to be overworking our muscles. So going back to my fitness journey and looking back at it, I was doing legs 3 times a week. This is when I was starting to be consistent, and I was seeing no results, which was mind-blowing to me at the time. I was like, I'm working out my legs 3 times a week, I'm putting so much effort, and I'm seeing no results. I was frustrated, but what I didn't realize is working out my legs 3 times a week, I was not allowing myself to recover. When you're working out, when you are weightlifting, you are creating small tears in your muscle called micro tears, and when you're resting, your body is recovering and allowing those tears to build that muscle. And when you give your body no time to recover, the next time you work out, you are creating more micro tears, and that is just making it almost impossible for your body to build onto that muscle. So we definitely want to make sure that we are giving ourselves enough rest. If you're not seeing progress, and maybe you're working out your legs 3 times a week, try out 2. For me, 2 is amazing. I give myself 3 days in between my leg days, and I'm fully recovered by the next leg day. All right, moving on to tip number 3, glute activation. We want to make sure that we're warming up our glute muscles. We want to be waking them up. They need that alarm call. What this does is, when you think about it, you're not using your glutes for the majority of the day. You're probably sitting, you're probably just walking, but we're not constantly activating them and using them throughout the day. So when you're going into your leg workout and you do some squats and some deadlifts, our muscles aren't activated fully. And to fully activate them, we want to warm them up. And so some ways that you can do this is using a resistance band above your knee and doing some side squat walks or some kickbacks or side kicks, glute bridges, anything. I think a resistance band is a great way to activate them. All right, so if you feel like you're doing the first 3 tips, let's go on to tip number 4. So tip number 4, mind to muscle connection. So mind to muscle connection, it sounds dumb. I know it does. Even saying it, I'm like, what? Like, why? But I promise this is something that definitely helps with growing the muscles. So mind to muscle connection, you are constantly thinking about engaging that specific muscle that you're working and trying to activate more muscle fibers. So when you're really connecting your mind to that muscle during an exercise, you're gonna be shooting more muscle fibers and getting them more active, which in the end engages that muscle even more in the workout. And this is going to help you to feel it more if you're really focused and concentrated on the exercise that you are doing. I find it very effective when I'm doing hip thrusts. I'm like focusing on squeezing my glutes, I'm focusing on really thrusting my hips up, and I definitely feel it more. So definitely try mind to muscle connection if you haven't tried it before, even though when I first heard of it, I was like, for what reason? Trust me, it helps. Okay, so tip number 5 is something, I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out, but it took me a long time to figure this tip out, okay? If you are trying to build your muscle, you need to eat in a caloric surplus. So this means that you need to eat more calories than you're burning. I don't know why, I feel like this is almost like common sense, but I never knew this, and I was not implementing this for like 2 years of my fitness journey, and I'm trying to build muscle the whole time. So obviously I'm not gonna see many results. So the reason that you need to be eating more than you burn is because your body is using that energy for your everyday processes. If you're not eating more than your body requires, then it's just going to go to different things. It's not going to go to building that muscle back up because it's not required. So we definitely want to make sure that we're eating more. So a lot of my clients and friends ask me, how much more do I eat? How do I know what my maintenance calories is? So the calories that your body needs to just go throughout your normal day, and then how much more you should be eating. And so I definitely recommend downloading MyFitnessPal. It's an app that I love to use to track your macros, and I'll talk about macros in a second just in case you're not sure what they are. But it has really helped me to understand more about what I'm eating and how I should be eating. When you first download the app, it asks you what your goals are. I think I entered like, I want to gain weight, and then I put like 10 pounds, and I think I said maybe 6 months I put, or something like that. And it told me how many calories I should be eating, and it asked you how active you are. I put very active because I currently work out 5 times a week, so I'm very active, and I walk around my college campus, and it's like I walk 4 miles a day. It's insane. But if you're not very active, make sure that you're putting, like you work out 2 to 3 days a week, because if you're gonna eat more and say you're very active and you're not, then you're gonna eat way too much than you really do need. So it told me that I should be eating 2,300 calories a day. And for me, I didn't even know how much I was eating normally. So what I did to basically see where my maintenance calories were at, I just logged my normal day of eating without trying to eat more for like a couple days. And I saw that my maintenance calories were at like 1,800 calories, 1,800 to 1,900 calories a day. So eating 2,300 would mean I'm eating more than my body needs, and that is good. That is what we want. But this is where I messed up, you should slowly go into eating more. If you're going from 1,800 calories all the way to 2,300 in a day and you're doing that every day, your body's gonna be like, what are you doing to me? If your body doesn't slowly adjust, you're not gonna feel that great. I didn't feel great. I felt so bloated. I felt like I was just gaining fat, but really it was just like a bunch of water weight. So definitely go into it slowly. And another thing on top of this, is to definitely make sure you're eating clean. We want to make sure that it's called a bulk when you eat more than you're burning. You want to gain that muscle. We want to make sure we're doing a clean bulk, because if we're eating all this crap, it is going to turn to fat, okay? We need the right macros. And so macros, we have our proteins, our carbs, and our fats. For protein, we want to make sure that we're eating around 1 gram per pound of body weight, but that's really like a give or take because it's more per pound of lean mass. So if you weigh like 140 pounds, you probably should be eating at least 125 grams of protein per day. And that's something I had no idea that I was supposed to be doing. And so when I first started tracking my macros, I weigh 120, and I was eating 65 grams of protein a day. I thought I was doing so good with it. No, I wasn't. So without that protein, how can you possibly build your muscle? You can't. It's impossible, okay? I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's impossible. So I started going up to 115 grams of protein a day. I started making sure I was eating enough carbs so that it was fueling my workouts. I was eating enough fats, because you definitely need healthy fats for your body to go through all its processes. And this is when I really started seeing the change. I was seeing growth. I was seeing improvement in the gym. I was lifting heavier. I was able to do more. And this is what really turned the tables for me. Everything else that I said before, and in addition to this, I gained 8 pounds. And sure, a little bit of it was fat, not gonna lie, but that's what you're gonna have to do in order to gain that muscle. So I did this for about 6 months, and that's when I really saw the progress. And once summer came, I was like, all right, I want to slim down a little bit. So I stopped tracking my macros, and I just started eating my maintenance calories every day. I shed that fat for the summer that I gained, and I kept that muscle because I was still eating enough protein. You have to make sure you're eating enough protein, for sure. All right, so tip number 5 was a long one, and we're finally moving on to tip number 6, progressive overload. So progressive overload is when you're placing a significant amount of stress on your muscles in order to tear the muscle fibers. And what you want to do when you're adding weight to your exercises is making sure that you're staying in the rep range of 8 to 12. This is the hypertrophy range. This is the range that is going to allow you to build that muscle. When you're in this range and you're trying to pick what weight is good for you, you want to make sure that getting to 12 is a challenge, but you can still get to 12. If you can do more than 12, then you can increase your weight, because that means that you can do less reps with more weight. And then if you can get to 8 and it's a challenge, but you're still getting to 8 reps, that's a great weight. So if you aren't someone who likes to lift heavy, but you do want to grow that muscle, it's okay. You don't have to do progressive overload. But when we do low weight, we're doing high reps. And when I say high reps, I mean to failure. Like, you literally cannot do another rep after that. And the reason that we're going to failure is because with progressive overload, our muscle fibers are tearing at a much quicker rate per rep than we are when we do lightweight and high reps. With each rep in the lightweight, our muscle fibers aren't tearing as much, but when we go to failure, it's tearing just as much as it is when you're doing heavyweight and lower reps. So definitely make sure we're staying in between the 8 to 12 range if you're going heavy. If you're not going heavy, make sure you're going to failure. If you're not going to failure, you're not going to be tearing the muscles as much as you would when you are doing heavy weight and lower reps. So if you did enjoy these tips, please be sure to subscribe and support your girl. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you are notified the next time I post a fitness tip or workout video, because more are to come. And I also have a fitness Instagram. So for all of you who are interested in learning more about workouts or what workouts to do in the gym, I post a bunch of workout videos, so you can go ahead and give it a follow. And I will see you guys in the next video.